No, you know what? I'm not gonna even
But
ask
you
because
keep moving the
I've
goalpost.
watched.
First it
No,
was a
the
woman is an
goalpost
adult
was
human
always
female.
adult human
Then I've
female.
given
Yes,
you an
that's what.
example of trans women who are also, by your definition, biologically adult human females. Then you said, no, it's
You're
actually
not
on
biologically.
gametes.
You
Then
can't
I said,
change your
what if there's a
biology,
woman who doesn't produce gametes? And you said,
but
well,
you
she
can't
still
change
has
your
the
biology.
potential to do it, but if she's not doing it, she doesn't have the potential. And you said, well, she's still a woman. It sounds like a woman is just whatever you feel like it is.
After gender reassignment surgery,
Mhm.
so they completely now look like a woman. They have all of the female parts. They have breasts. They are still 20 times more likely to commit suicide than a cisgender person.
Well, I'm not sure where you got the 20 times number, but I'd be more than happy to talk to you about that. It's just, I think we first need to, I need you to concede then that your definition of what a man and a woman is not very solid. And then we can move on to what sounds like the real problem you have.
One thing I disagree with you on is like what a woman is, and basically I just don't agree that you can change your sex.
Well, I think a lot of the times people are talking about changing gender before sex. Now, it's true that some people will go through sex reassignment surgery, but usually what we're talking about, especially at the preliminary stage of being trans, is just changing your gender.
Oh no, I understand that. Um, one, I find it hard to agree with that as well because I feel like the primary argument for feminism was that men and women should be equal and they could do the same jobs and like clothes and jobs and roles aren't really gendered. So I don't know why we got back to this gender thing where
Well,
it's
clothes
like,
and roles are absolutely gendered.
no, I don't think so. I think you can be a man and you can wear a dress and I wouldn't care.
Well, okay, you can be a man and you can wear a dress, yes. However, are you seriously going to tell me that a dress is not largely perceived as being feminine?
Yes, but you can be a gender non-conforming man, but you can't tell me that you're a woman.
Sure, I agree. I don't think that wearing a dress is what makes you a woman. I think that that
But then
comes down to the.
where's the cutoff point? Because okay, so can we can you define me? What I don't want to Matt Walsh you right now,
No,
but
it's
like
fine. I
can
have a
you
definition
define
of a
what?
woman. Yes, a woman is. Yeah, a woman is somebody whose internal perception aligns with what we culturally view as being feminine. That's
So
why my
you're a
wife can
woman.
be a woman, whether or not she's wearing a dress. That's why trans women are women. That's why wearing clothing, talking a certain way, fitting into a certain role does not determine whether or not you are a woman. That's also why experience does not determine whether or not you are a woman. It comes down to an internal perception you have of yourself, which, keep in mind, that internal perception is shaped by an external factor, which is the socially constructed view of gender that we have. The minute you're born, you're socialized into certain behaviors, certain roles, and yes, certain aesthetics as well. You're told that because you are a girl, you should act like this or dress like this. That shapes an internal perception you have of yourself as well.
Yeah, I think that's why we won't agree totally on any of this. I mean, I do agree that people are socialized differently based on what sex they are when they're born. I mean,
But the
that's
social
obvious.
element of what you are socialized into is the gender. So there's nothing about your biology that makes it or dictates that you are going to wear a dress, or even wear your hair long, or talk a certain way, or fit into a certain category or social role. That's all
Oh,
social,
yeah, of course, I agree with that.
and
What I
that's
mean
gender.
is,
That's the part of that's
okay,
gender that is socially constructed. Then.
yes, maybe I haven't explained myself properly. So what I mean is, I don't, so we used to have sex segregated spaces for a reason. There is a reason men and women are segregated because obviously we have biological differences. Men are more, and you will agree with me on this, men tend to be more aggressive, women are more vulnerable. So I don't care if you're a man and you want to do all the things that are feminine. And even if you call yourself a woman, I don't really care. But I don't understand how then, because what then you are doing is, I am a man, biologically I'm male, but I identify as a woman, so I should just be able to go into any women's space I want. Then you're blurring the line between sex and gender because now you're saying, oh, well, he did the thing. Maybe he didn't have this surgery, but he got this surgery. Maybe he does this, but doesn't do that. But we'll just say he's woman enough to become a woman, and now he can run a rape crisis shelter. You
Well,
know,
first of all, I think that
like,
it's a little bit yikesy to assume that just if somebody has a penis that they're somehow incapable of running a rape crisis center. But I also can understand that if somebody has been sexually assaulted by somebody with a penis, they might be uncomfortable having somebody with that biological makeup in their space. That I can understand. The thing is,
oh no,
though,
I wouldn't.
is
Even if he had the surgery, I wouldn't want him there.
okay. So hold on. The thing that I think you're picturing somebody who's like burly, tough, big, muscular, ripped dude who just one day says like I'm a woman and then just like freely walks into the women's locker room. Now, that's not usually how this goes down. What usually happens is you have individuals who they have that internal perception of themselves, right? That aligns with cultural views of femininity internally, not externally necessarily, internally. However, if they are suffering from gender dysphoria, which is almost to be expected because most trans people do suffer from some degree of gender dysphoria, then they are going to also take steps to socially transition, which is what is recommended medically. That is the first thing you're supposed to do. Socially transition. Change your name, wear different clothes, basically present yourself in a way to sort of communicate to society that you want to be recognized as feminine, as a woman in this case. So if you have somebody like that, right? Somebody who biologically has a penis, however, has taken steps to socially transition, they are more likely to be victimized if they go into a all male space. This is where the bathroom conversation comes up is if you force trans women to use the bathroom with other males, then that trans woman is more likely to be abused, and she's far more likely to be abused than she is to be a perpetrator. So, in a case like that, wouldn't it almost make sense to include somebody who is also at risk of being abused in some kind of a space in which they help people who have been abused or are at risk of being abused?
Yeah, but you're forgetting the fact that that trans-identified person is going to a bathroom, which is male, and they are also male. I don't see. I feel like spaces should be divided by sex for the obvious reasons,
I don't think you
as
actually
in,
believe that though. What about
I
trans people?
do.
Well, what about trans people that completely pass? Do you know who Blair White is?
Yeah, what's your yeah.
Yeah, would you want to see Blair White in the men's bathroom?
See that. I get where you're coming from because I always have this kind of conflict with myself that, hey, you know what? Blair really looks like, I mean, there are some things that give it away, but yeah, Blair looks pretty much like a biological woman. But no, to be consistent, you should either go to a gender neutral one or to the one that is your sex because they are sex segregated spaces. And
So the
women
thing is though
women
is
require those spaces. It's like when you have men that suddenly they're in prison and then they're like, oh, you know what?
but you realize that if Blair White was sort of forced to use the bathroom that corresponded with her sex and not her gender, that that's now putting her at higher risk of being abused.
I'm not sure about how it works in the US, but we like pretty much anywhere you go here, there are accessible bathrooms, so they're usually not,
There are not gender neutral
you
bathrooms
know,
at every place here at all in
so
America.
you
There's
don't
there's
have
still a
like
lot of
disability toilets or anything.
some places have family restrooms, yeah, or disability toilets, but not every place.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I that's not really, I think catering to a really tiny, 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 tiny minority at the expense of women because
But
it's
it's
never
not at the no
men.
no no stop
You
because
know,
it no stop because it's not at the
yeah, it is
expense.
because
No, it's not.
sport.
It's not at the expense of women. All you're doing is recognizing trans women as also being women and including them in those spaces. If the trans woman isn't at a higher risk, or excuse me, isn't at a higher likelihood to abuse, but it is at a higher risk of being abused, why is that a bad thing? That just sounds like you're making the world safer.
No, because it's not safer for women. It might be safer for that individual, but why do we care about that individual than the women?
Wait, why do
And
you care
also,
about we care about that individual because you want to see as little harm as
sorry,
possible
more.
inflicted on
Yeah.
Yeah, because you
Utilitarian
don't
life.
care about the trans woman more than the cis women. You're just including the trans women with the cis women for the sake of safety.
Yeah, but see, again, you're saying cis women. They're not cis women. They are women. That's why trans women aren't women because
Wait,
they're trans.
no,
There's a
stop.
prefix.
No,
They've
just
you
okay. So
haven't
what if
learned
there's a
that.
prefix? What are black women not women because there's a prefix of
Okay.
black? Come
Oh
on.
my God. It's I love it when people use that. You should watch this lady. Her name is Karen. Her channel name is You're Kidding, Right? I think she would love she loves it when people compare trans people to black women. Uh but so
Why?
you're saying that we're just
What's wrong with that?
because
There's a
black women
prefix
are
there.
women, obviously.
But there's a
Yeah.
prefix. There's a prefix there.
Yeah, but a woman is an adult human female. A trans woman is an adult human male.
So
So
if you're going the biological route, that's fine. But you also then have to acknowledge that if you passed somebody in the street who looked like Blair White, you would consider her a woman, and you've never seen or verified the fact that she's female on a biological basis. Clearly, you
okay.
can tell if someone's a woman based on features other than biology.
Well, one giveaway is obviously their voice, but that doesn't
What
doesn't
if
really
it's a
matter whether
girl?
I
What if
can
it's a cis woman with a deep voice?
well, it doesn't really matter whether I can distinguish like straight away if that person is biologically a woman or a man. What matters is that the sex matters. Women are not, we're not just like something. You can't just say, oh, I feel like a woman, so I am a woman. And it's the
It's
same
not
as
a
women,
feel like a
because,
woman, it's that they have an internal identity, an internal perception of themselves that aligns with
okay, but
that. And you do too.
why do we treat, why do we treat other people get pissed off when I say mental issues, but gender dysphoria is obviously not something normal in people. So why do we treat other things without affirming them, and we try to get people on the straight and narrow and say, hey, you know what, you might be anorexic, but actually you're gonna die if you keep doing this. But all we're doing,
I
like with
think you can
kids.
answer this yourself. I have faith in you that I think you can tell the pretty obvious difference
No,
there.
because suicidality doesn't go down after they transition,
First, okay,
and you
please
have
stop.
so
Why
many
does everybody say this dumb fuck lie? That is just
and
bullshit.
then you have so many detransitioners now that
No,
y'all
you
don't want to
don't. You don't
acknowledge.
actually have a
You
whole
don't
ton
want
of
to acknowledge
detransitioners.
them.
So there's a couple things here. First, I would like to just read this. This is kind of from what I said earlier. Researchers looked at data from a survey of nearly 3,700 US teens aged 13 through 17. The study found that 36% of transgender or gender non-binary students with restricted bathroom or locker room access reported being sexually assaulted in the last 12 months, according to May 9th or 6th, 2019. Of all students surveyed, 1 out of every 4, or 25.9%, reported being a victim of sexual assault in the past year. Fortunately, kids' access to restrooms and locker rooms have become very politicized in some communities. And so this is an example here as to where trans people reported facing more sexual assault when they were restricted from using the bathroom. I know that we're kind of moved off that topic now, but I just wanted to make sure that I gave this information to the stream and to you. But
And do you have any statistics on how many women get sexually assaulted? How often?
I can look some up if you'd like.
Because I don't, but I could look some up. Sorry, if I just mute for a second, it's because my brother might come in the room.
Transgender people are over 4 times more likely than cisgendered people to be victims of violent crime.
Violent crime, which is mostly committed by men to other men.
Well, what we're talking about here is men committing violence on trans people.
Okay,
I guess I can
fair.
look it up like compared to cis women.
Give me a sec. Well, this is Rape Crisis England and Wales. It might be different. Well, it says here, this is Rape Crisis England and Wales. I don't know how that probably doesn't translate to the US. But here it says 1 in 4 women have been raped or sexually assaulted as an adult. 1 in 6 children, and 1 in 20 men.
So it said 1 in 4 women have been sexually assaulted.
As an adult, yes.
Yeah, and that's right in line with how many people reported that in that survey that I just read. There was about 1 in 4 people that were sexually assaulted as well. Sounds like trans women fall right in line with cis women when it comes to the rates that they are likely to face abuse. So I think that that's important to keep into account, if anything. And then you go on and ask the question as to why do we affirm instead of setting them on the straight and narrow? Obviously, the answer is because by affirming somebody's identity, you are bettering their well-being at the end of the day. If you are affirming somebody as being anorexic, they're going to starve themselves to death. These are the opposites. One, you affirm, or excuse me, the treatment is via affirmation. The other, the treatment is explaining where they are confused and wrong.
Okay, maybe straight and narrow was the wrong sort of wording to use. Um, but no, I don't think so necessarily because, like, for example, now we having kids, and don't tell me we're not transing kids because there have been kids that have been given all sorts of hormones and surgeries before they're 18 with parental consent, of course. But you can't tell me that affirming someone and then making them a lifelong medical patient with surgical complications and all sorts of other drugs that they have to take for the rest of their life is actually of benefit to them. I'm not saying I don't feel bad for these people because I can't
You
imagine
don't feel, you
how it would
feel bad for
feel.
them, but you're just completely advocating against their interests and their well-being.
No,
So no, this idea that they're going to be a permanent medical patient is not necessarily true. Again, you're kind of talking now about like if you go through full sex reassignment surgery. Sure, there might
well,
be some
isn't that what?
complications there, but I'm pretty sure having a couple complications or needing to see doctors more frequently to make sure that your sex reassignment surgery is successful is probably better than still wanting to kill yourself and living a life that's miserable and your mental health in complete decline.
Well, is it really when you're just you're literally your sexual reproductive organs have been, cut up and turned into this whole other thing? Like how many people
So what?
actually
That's
have
what
full use?
happens with gender dysphoria and sex dysphoria. You have an internal perception of yourself that aligns with what we culturally view as being feminine. Right now, amongst our society, we think that breasts, for example, equals woman. Breasts can equal female, but breasts do not necessarily make somebody or equal woman. So, somebody, although they have a gender dysphoria, might still desire breasts because even though that is biological, we have categorized that as being woman. So they might want certain biological characteristics that also communicate their internal perception of themselves as far as gender goes. There's a lot of overlap there, and I recognize it's a little bit confusing. But yeah, if this betters their ultimate mental well being, which it does, I don't know where you're getting the idea that their suicide rates don't go down, then I don't know why you wouldn't be in favor of what seems to be working for trans people.
First, I don't know where you're getting this idea that breasts are like categorized as a feminine thing because, yeah, okay, maybe if you're an overweight man or you have some sort of hormonal issue or something, you might develop some kind of boob, but breasts are a female reproductive, like sexual organ. They're not a male sexual organ. They
I
are a
know.
female thing.
I know. But
So
right now
they're
we
not just they're
correlate
not just
strongly
realized.
female and woman together. So if somebody identifies as a woman, they
Yeah,
might
because
desire
you're female.
certain female attributes in order to further communicate their internal perception of themselves.
Yeah, because women are female. That's what a woman is, an adult human female.
No, that's not what a woman is. A woman is somebody whose internal
So how come
perception
for
aligns with
years
what we
we've
culturally
just
view as being
agreed
feminine.
with this? Because now uh, we haven't had this sort of it's I know where it's come from. It's from universities because I go to a university and I can tell you it's sometimes you hear people and yeah, I wonder whether universities actually help us progress because I'm sorry, how you cannot give me a circular definition of a woman and then tell me it's a good
I
definition.
didn't
You're
give
not
you
a
a
woman.
circular definition of a
You
woman.
did because you
No,
say
you're
if you
making a
identify
pretend
as a woman.
argument. You're arguing as if I just said a woman is someone who identifies as a woman. That's not what I said.
And you just, from what I understood, you told me that a woman is someone who aligns and identifies with things that are typically female, that we recognize as typically female, right?
No, it's somebody whose internal perception of themselves aligns with what we culturally view as being feminine. Feminine
Okay.
is a broad thing. There is lots of behavior, even arguably opposite types of behavior that that are both classified as being feminine. So yes, if your internal perception aligns with aspects of femininity amongst our society, which again, the external forms of gender influence your internal perception, then that is what makes somebody a woman. That is why somebody could be born without a uterus and still be a woman. That is why you don't need to see people's chromosomes or genitalia to determine whether or not they are a woman. Well, in that case, it would be based on their presentation. But even if they're not presenting that way, they could still be a woman.
No, you can be born without a uterus and still be a woman because your whole body is geared to producing large gametes. That doesn't mean that there's never any complication or deformity. I mean, yeah, you can be a woman and you can have no ovaries or no uterus or whatever. That doesn't make you not a woman because basically a man is someone who can never
But you told me that a woman is somebody
make
who's biologically female. So
an
now
adult
we're
human
talking
female.
about, yeah, an adult human
She's still
female. Now you're
she's still
talking about, hold on,
female
wait,
if
wait,
she
wait. Now
doesn't have
you're
a
talking,
uterus.
so now you're talking about somebody who is female but is lacking in certain biological characteristics.
No. Well, okay. Say you're lacking in a uterus, which sounds it's like women aren't just these baby producing things. They're
Wait,
okay,
that's
maybe
your
say they
argument
don't
right
have
now, but I know.
no.
You're the one saying
No.
that women are defined by their biology. That's what you're saying right
Yeah,
now.
everyone is. That doesn't mean I just think they're meant to be popping babies out. I just think, look, so the argument is a woman is an adult human female. An adult human female is someone who, sorry, a female is a human that is born with their body, not designed because that's like a Jesus thing, with their body geared towards the production of large gametes. A male is someone whose body is geared towards the production of small gametes. If a man is can't he shoots blanks, he's still a man. His body is still geared towards making sperm. Whether something went wrong or he smoked too many cigarettes, I don't know. He's still a man. That doesn't change. And same as for a woman, you
So
can
it's
be
just because
born
the body is
without a
geared
uterus.
towards this thing, that's what determines that? Because then we kind of go back to square one is even if that's the case, then how are you determining somebody's a man or a woman? You don't know what's going on inside. Not to mention, do you know that there are, I don't know the exact numbers, but there's a good portion of women and people you would consider females who are actually based on their
Intersex?
chromosomes and based on their internal biology, they would actually be male. There are women walking around right now who have vaginas, who look biologically female, but based on their actual chromosomes, they would be male. So
Are you
there's a
talking
lot of
about
nuance there as well.
sex?
There's overlap.
Yeah, no one's saying I don't think anyone's saying that every woman is literally designed perfectly the same. That's not the issue here. But you know that a woman cannot be born with a penis. You just know that. I'm sorry.
No,
You
somebody could be
can't tell me.
born with a penis who would be biologically male, but
Yeah,
they could
they're
grow
male.
up to
Yeah.
determine male, yeah, but they could
Mm-hmm.
determine or grow up to identify as a woman. So they could be a woman as far as their gender goes, but biologically be male.
Yeah, and that's where I don't think we'll ever agree there because you see woman as this gender thing and you can align yourself to the femininity and all that, but I see woman as an adult human female, like,
But then what's an
biologically.
adult human female? What is that then? Because you're saying body geared towards this thing. So like what about the women if women don't have a uterus, then it's like their body is not actually geared towards reproducing any longer. It's no longer geared towards some of those biological functions that you brought up earlier.
How is it not? If they have one thing that went wrong in whatever stage of their development, how does that mean that they weren't developing in that way?
Well, wait, are we talking about like development as far as the fetus? Because in that case, we all begin as female. So, like, at what
Okay, yeah.
point then?
Well, because you're asking me that if a woman, okay, she can't have kids, now her body's not geared towards that. Well, like obviously it is. She has maybe she's missing, okay, she's missing her ovaries. I don't know if that's even possible. But say she is. She's missing her ovaries, so she can't make eggs, but she has a uterus, she has a vagina, she has a breast. I
Okay.
mean, what, you're gonna tell me that she's her body is not geared towards the production of large gametes, even though
I
that
just
she
don't know
could.
why that's your definition to begin with.
Because a man could never do that.
But
That's the difference.
you're the one now reducing women to just their genitals.
No, not just their genitals. A woman is her biology. I don't think many women have a problem with that. We have a
Women are
problem
not
with being
just their
reduced.
biology. This is actually like a
We have
really
a problem with
sexist
being
perspective right now.
no. We have a problem with being reduced to, well, this is feminine, and if I am very feminine, then I identify as a woman.
Wait,
That's
you're the
really
one
sexist.
saying that if a woman is her biology, that means a woman is defined by her vagina. So,
Yeah,
one, to
because
me, that sounds
no,
sexist because women are not just walking vaginas. Second of all, you don't see anybody's genitalia when you pass them in the street or at a restaurant or whatever, and then you are able to determine that they are a woman regardless because
you
you
can
go
see
based
that
on gender.
you can see their other characteristics. I mean, you can see their facial structure, their brow bone, their voice. There's a lot of
Right. I
things I
know.
can look
I've
like.
heard it before how
But
you guys can quote unquote always tell. And then we send pictures of cis women and then you say they're trans. And no, you don't actually know. Some women have sharper jawlines, some women don't. Some women have different eyebrows or
tell
brow
me,
bones or whatever
tell
you
me
said.
how it's sexist if I just say a woman is an adult human female. That doesn't mean she's not allowed to do anything she wants to do.
No, then
If a
because
woman,
you need to tell me what an adult
that's
human
not.
female is. Is the female part the vagina? Is it their body geared towards large gametes? What
It's their
exactly is it?
biology.
So her biology. Okay.
Mhm.
So then how do you know that somebody's a woman if you don't see their biology?
I mean, I just told you with their secondary characteristics. You can't tell me that most.
What secondary characteristics? Like breasts?
I mean, that's one of them.
So then
They're
if you saw a trans woman who had a sex reassignment surgery and had breasts, would she be a woman in your mind?
no, because she's not a female.
But you
But
okay.
see,
So
here's the
wait.
definition of
Hold on. Wait.
female.
If somebody goes through sex reassignment surgery, wait. I think there's like a huge flaw here actually. You just told me that a woman is her biology. So if a trans woman undergoes sex reassignment surgery, has a vagina, has breasts, and
That's not
has
that no.
hold on, and has estrogen and has the female hormones, that is her biology. By your definition, then that means the trans woman would be a woman.
No, that's not her biology. I mean, I'm sorry, I can get surgery to implant some whatever the hell into me. That's not going to change who I am. Uh, I was born with estrogen. I
So do you
was
need to be
born with
born
breast.
with this?
Well, that's what biology is. No, it's not
No, your
something, it's not
biology can
plastic
change. You can
surgery.
have your biology
No, your
changed.
biology cannot change. I am sorry. Let me give you this definition. Um, Female, of or denoting the sex that can bear offspring or produce eggs, distinguished biologically by the production of gametes, ova, which can be fertilized by male gametes. You cannot produce female gametes if you are a man, or even basically, you can never do that. A woman has the potential to, if something goes wrong, okay, her reproductive system is fucked, whatever. But she had a man will never be geared towards that. They will
But nobody
always
knows
geared.
if they're producing gametes or not. That's like,
It doesn't matter if you're producing them or not, because yeah, you can have fertility issues. What it
wait,
is
so if somebody has
denouncing,
fertility issues and they're not producing those gametes, then,
they're still a woman.
but you just told me that's what makes them the woman.
No, the potential to do that. You don't have to actually, your body is geared towards it. Whether it actually is able to is a different story. A lot of people are infertile now for different reasons. If it's an environmental reason that you're infertile or you had to have a hysterectomy, you're not less of a woman.
This just
You're
sounds like you're now
still a woman.
contradicting yourself.
How?
Because you just said that they need to have the potential to produce the gametes, or they should produce the gametes. Then you're saying if they don't, that they could still be a woman because they had the potential to produce the gametes? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
your
If
body is
they,
geared.
no, if they're not producing gametes, then the potential to do that is gone. Not to mention, you then also said a woman is her biology. Trans women who undergo sex reassignment surgery have biological characteristics that are in line with female. So they would be a
No, they are
woman.
not. Do they have periods? No. Are their breasts like actually? tissue which can produce milk
Well,
for
they
the
actually
child? No.
trans women do actually get some kind of a obviously they don't menstruate, but they do have period cramps and whatnot
I
that can
couldn't dream of being
occur
a
as
man
well,
half as
just
good
due
as
to the
you,
I'm sure
estrogen
that's
in
Hunter.
not an
general.
issue with the surgery stuff.
What?
I'm sure that doesn't come from the fact that you've literally cut your downstairs up into.
No, it doesn't. It's that when you're taking estrogen, you can actually experience like a cycle and cramps and whatnot every month.
Okay, so no, you know what? I'm not gonna even
But
ask
you
because
keep moving the
I've
goalpost.
watched.
First it
No,
was a
the
woman is an
goalpost
adult
was
human
always
female.
adult human
Then I've
female.
given
Yes,
you an
that's what.
example of trans women who are also, by your definition, biologically adult human females. Then you said, no, it's
They're
actually
not
on
biological.
gametes.
You
Then
can't
I said,
change your
what if there's a
biology,
woman who doesn't produce gametes? And you said,
but
well,
you
she
can't
still
change
has
your
the
biology
potential to do it, but if she's not doing it, she doesn't have the potential. And you said, well, she's still a woman. It sounds like a woman is just whatever you feel like it is. Notice how my
no,
definition
because you can't.
as being
You
somebody
can't
whose
change
internal
your biology
perception aligns with what we culturally view as being feminine, that accounts for women. That accounts for all women. Your definition excludes women. Your definition literally cuts out women who don't produce gametes.
because they don't have to be women.
So then
You
why
don't
can't
have to
trans
be
women be in
fertile
that
to be a woman
category where they don't have to produce the
because they
gametes?
are male. You cannot change your biology. You cannot tell me that you can change anybody's, anything's, any animal's biology. You literally can't. You can't do a plastic surgery and then tell me, oh, you know what?
Animals actually change their sex. Some
Fair
animals
point.
do. This is why people talk
Yeah,
about
fair
clownfish, for
point.
example.
Okay. Yeah, but we're not clownfish. A surgery doesn't make your neo vagina uh, a real vagina.
Wait, you just said if you look, what did you say about nature a minute ago? If you look all over nature, then you can,
I
what did you
didn't
say?
say look all over. I said you can't change biology even in animals. But yes, I concede that point. The clownfish change their sex, but we don't.
I
We
okay,
can't.
but we kind of can based on the trans. It sounds like you don't really have a good definition of a woman. It sounds like your definition of a woman is
My
somebody who
definition of a
produces
woman is
gametes, but then if they don't, but they can still be a woman because they don't have to produce gametes. But trans women who also don't produce the gametes aren't women, even though if they've gone through surgery, they're biologically speaking in line with cis
No,
females to a
it's
large
not.
degree.
No, no, surgery is not biology. Putting implants in your breast to make yourself like
Some
feminine looking
women
breast.
don't even have breasts or they have like incredibly flat chests. If they get an implant, like what does that matter?
Yeah, that's still not biological. They're biologically a woman. Maybe their breasts aren't as
All
pronounced.
right.
That doesn't make them any less of
I
a
agree that
woman.
we're not clownfish, but I do feel like you're a bit of a clown because I think that you really need to rethink your position here. You don't have a sound definition for what a woman is, and then when you try
I
to
don't
argue the
see how
when you try and argue the biological position, you put trans women
because
at
you don't
high
understand
wait,
what
stop.
biology is.
You put trans women at higher risk of being sexually abused. You try to determine based on biology, even though you can tell if somebody's a woman or a man, usually without ever seeing their biology. Then you said, well, there could be secondary characteristics or excuse me, you said women are defined by their biology. But then if trans women change their biology to be more in line with female, that still doesn't count because they don't produce gametes. But if a female isn't able to produce gametes, then she can still be a woman because she doesn't have to produce
Yeah,
gametes. But a
because
trans woman isn't a woman. Like you don't know what you're talking about.
you can't change your biology. That's the point. That's why you don't understand because
Well,
you think
you've
you can magically
successfully
change your
changed my
biology.
biology because my brain is starting to die from this conversation. So please rethink your position here. I appreciate you staying and
You
watching the
can't change
content.
that.
Just have a good rest of your day. And yeah, get off Turf Island, all right?
Thanks for having me. Bye.
So it's basically, I was going to talk originally about trigger warnings,
Okay.
but then that whole transgender come up.
That's okay. We can talk about whatever.
So I'd actually like to continue with the transgender debate.
Okay.
That women are women and men are men. I define it by women generally are able to bear children. Men generally are able to produce sperm. Medical anomalies don't discount that fact.
What if there's like a good chunk of those medical anomalies? So like I think it's something like I mean it's still obviously on a broad scale going to be in the minority, but I believe it's like 1 in 4,000 women are born without a uterus. And then I don't know how many men are born with the inability to produce sperm. But the question is, I agree that medical anomalies don't set the rule. But if a woman was, or if somebody was born without a uterus, then you would say, well, they might not be able to produce children. But in that case, they're still a woman, right?
Yes, because
So
they're
then
not be
why
able to
does the
produce,
trans woman not fit in that definition also?
Because a trans woman isn't not be able to produce children because of a medical anomaly. They're not be able to produce children because they're men.
Well, they would be able to produce sperm, I guess, because they're biologically male, so they would hypothetically be able to create children. But I know what you mean, like grow a child inside of
They
you.
would be able to bear children.
Right. Um. So wait, hold on. So someone's born without a uterus.
Yep.
She's a woman still.
Yes.
But then the trans woman also doesn't have a uterus. Why is she not the woman?
Because the woman born without a uterus is due to a medical issue.
Mm-hmm.
The woman or the man born that then turns into a woman and hasn't got a uterus is not due to a medical anomaly.
It's
It's
due
due
to a
to the fact
medical
they're male,
condition. It's due to gender dysphoria.
which is a mental condition.
A medical condition, yeah.
Mental.
Mental is medical.
Right, so just because you think you're something doesn't mean you are.
I agree. Not with everything, but when we're talking about gender, yeah.
Why does gender change from if I want to think I'm a dog, I'm not a dog?
Because a dog is not a socially constructed gender identity. A dog refers to a category that we have socially created where we categorize certain mammals with four legs in this category. Yeah,
So
that
because something's socially created, that then becomes true.
no. So there's social constructs that can affect people. But no, just if something is so obviously all categories are socially constructed. We as humans categorize things. But obviously I'm not arguing that you can just identify with any category. I'm arguing that some of these categories refer to socially constructed forms of identity. Gender falls in that category. Religion falls in that category. Being a sports fan falls in that category. I am a sports fan because I think I'm a sports fan. I am a Christian because I think I'm a Christian. Similarly, I could be a woman because I think I'm a woman.
No, because a woman is defined by the ability to bear a child.
No, she's not.
If you
You're wrong about that because there are still plenty of women who cannot bear children who are women.
due to medical issues.
Yes, and a trans woman is trans and had sex reassignment surgery due to medical issues as well.
But having sex reassignment surgery does not make you a woman.
So then what does?
The ability to bear children
Except for the women who can't bear children.
due to medical anomalies.
All right. Yeah, we're just going in circles already. This is I don't know what to even like where to go from this.
I'm giving you
A
a
medical hold on,
definition
a medical condition is also gender dysphoria.
I said a medical anomaly.
A medical anomaly.
Yes.
So it's got to be specifically an anomaly.
Yeah, a woman being born without a uterus is an anomaly.
Okay, well, I'm sure that, based on general society, that it's also an anomaly to have gender dysphoria.
But you were still born
You could probably
a
argue
man.
that. You were born male,
Yes.
yes, but not a man necessarily. Most people are socialized into their gender identity, and most people are comfortable with that gender identity. But there are going to be people, maybe even anomalies, if you will, who have an internal perception that disaligns with the expectations that were placed on them. They have an internal perception that aligns more with what we culturally view as being feminine, and then they would have gender dysphoria. That would be an anomaly. If they underwent
Right.
surgery, then they would no longer be able to bear children or have children, just like the woman who was born without the uterus.
Right, so I can get on board with the fact that males can be more feminine, females can be more masculine.
Mhm.
Not a problem with that.
Yeah.
But when they turn around and say, because I'm more feminine, I'm now a woman, no, I disagree.
I disagree
You
also.
are
Yeah, it's not
you are a
being
male
feminine and
with
being
feminism.
masculine isn't what makes you a man or a woman. I totally agree with that. It's the internal perception. Just like I could be a Christian and I have an internal perception of myself that is, I follow the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I have an internal belief that Jesus Christ is God, and I don't ever have to go to church. I don't ever have to wear any clothing that suggests I'm a Christian. I could tell nobody, and I would still be a Christian because it's not based on behavior or external aesthetic that ultimately determines that identity. However, you could argue that if I am a Christian, I'm also going to want to take steps to communicate that externally because I want others to know that I'm a Christian. Similarly, you can have an internal perception of yourself that aligns with being feminine. You can be a woman based on your identity, and you're probably going to take steps to externally communicate that because you want to be recognized as a woman as well.
Right, so you can change your religion, You cannot change your gender.
I mean,
Just because
sure.
you can
So
have
wait, hold on, wait, stop. Yes, you're right. You can usually it's a lot harder to change your gender. That's true. These are not exactly one-to-one comparisons, but they are absolutely comparable enough because it demonstrates that it's an internal sense of self and identity that can determine whether or not you are something or aren't something. Whether or not you can change that is arguably aside the point. I obviously recognize that there's a caveat there that you can change religions and it's a lot harder to change gender. But that's not the main thing here. What I'm explaining is that if you have an internal belief and perception that you are a Christian, that's what makes you a Christian.
Okay, but my definition of what makes you a woman is not as simple as I think I'm this, so therefore I am.
Okay. Yeah, your definition of a woman excludes women or
No, it doesn't,
classifies women who, although they can't bear children, are considered an anomaly. But when trans women are also an anomaly and can't bear children, that doesn't count. You don't have a consistent definition.
because a trans woman is born a male, which I would say in 99.9% of cases has the ability to produce semen.
Okay.
Again, there's medical anomalies where they may not. They may fire blanks, whatever.
Okay.
But in the grand scheme of things, you are born either able to produce sperm
Mhm.
or produce eggs.
I agree with this completely. And
Right.
again, averages exist, of course. The average person is also cisgender, obviously. But then the thing is your inconsistency comes when I give you an example of a man who cannot produce semen, and you say, well, he's an anomaly, so he's still a man. He's just kind of a rare version of a man because he can't produce semen. But then when I give you the trans man who can't produce semen, he doesn't count for some reason.
Because he has everything necessary to produce semen except for something because of a medical reason. A
Right, just
woman,
like the woman born without the uterus. Yeah.
yeah, again, there's a medical issue why she hasn't got a uterus
Uh-huh.
when she's
And there's
born.
probably a medical issue as to why the trans man can't, or actually, sorry, trans woman can't produce semen.
Because she's a man.
No, probably because
Yes.
she's undergone certain sex reassignment or has been on hormones where she's no longer able to produce semen.
Okay, so because she's mutilated her genitals,
It's not mutilating genitals. It's an operation
I'm
and a surgery done by a medical professional, but go ahead.
saying, okay, so she's had an operation
Hmm.
that has made her now not able to produce semen.
Hmm. Yeah.
That doesn't
So
make her not a man. It just means that she's decided to have things taken out of her that can produce semen.
So wait,
The fact, the
is a
fact she was
man
born,
still a man if he's got a vasectomy?
yes, because it was
Okay.
due to a medical issue that he's had to have the vasectomy.
Well, no, the medical issue in that case would have been literally just the choice to do it.
Okay, yes, he doesn't want to have any more children.
Okay. So maybe the trans woman doesn't want to have children. And not only have they
Oh,
just made the choice, they also have a medical condition called gender dysphoria that demands treatment that could result in their loss of ability to produce semen. Why is this not, or why are there differences here?
because we're normalizing a mental disorder.
So you're just like moving the goalpost completely.
No, I'm not.
You're,
But you're pointing out that the anomaly is that this woman or this man is born with the wrong parts, whether they're born with a vagina or a penis.
hmm.
So that's what you're saying is due to this mental condition, they've been born with this and it's wrong.
Hmm.
Okay, if that's the case, why is suicide rates in the trans community so much higher than in the cis community? Now you can point out that they're bullied, they're this, they're that. After gender reassignment surgery,
Hmm.
so they completely now look like a woman. They have all of the female parts. They have a
Okay.
vagina. They have breasts. They are still 20 times more likely to commit suicide than a cisgender person.
Well, I'm not sure where you got the 20 times number, but I'd be more than happy to talk to you about that. It's just, I think we first
Um,
need to, I need you to concede then that your definition of what a man and a woman is not very solid. Why don't you
I
just
mean,
acknowledge that? And then we can move on to what sounds like the real problem you have with trans people, which is that we are quote unquote normalizing a mental illness. It sounds like that's your ultimate problem. And you're sort of trying to scapegoat with, well, the definition of a man is somebody who can produce semen, but if they can't produce semen, they're still a man. But it has to be an anomaly and it has to be a medical condition, but gender dysphoria doesn't count because it's in your head. Like, maybe you should just acknowledge that your definition is really kind of shitty, and then we can move on to the next part.
I believe in my definition because of how it is, but yes, I do believe that we shouldn't normalise mental disorders.
So you acknowledge then that your definition isn't very sound.
No.
Well, unless you acknowledge that, we're not going to be able to move on in the conversation because you have failed to adequately explain why a trans woman is not a woman and why a cis woman is a woman, even if they are both lacking certain biological characteristics.
And I've explained that about as well as I can do.
Well, you've explained it very poorly, and I think that you need to go back to the drawing board with this one.
I don't understand how I've explained something poorly because
Okay, well, I think that I'm going to have to go get off this call because having you on here is me normalizing mental illness. So rethink your position, please, and then come back when you're ready.
Thank you.